What's up guys, Mickle here, and I want to go over some major drama going around the XRP community right now in regards to Judge Torres. Now, throughout this entire Ripple SEC case, Judge Torres has been extremely fair, and many of the lawyers following this case have said that we are extremely lucky to have her as our judge. And that's because she is making rulings based on the merits and based on the law, and not simply rubber stamping everything the SEC says because they're a government agency. Well, in this video, I want to go over a brand new decision that Judge Torres actually just made in a different case that is causing people some serious concern. I want to go over the ruling Judge Torres just made, whether or not people are overreacting, and what this means for the ongoing Ripple SEC case. Now, this is going to give us a much better idea of exactly how Judge Torres might rule in this case, so this is something you are definitely going to want to see. At the end of the video, I also want to talk about private ledgers. I actually just had a member of Ripple's CBDC team directly message me on Twitter about their private ledger product. At the end of this video, we're going to go over that, so make sure to stick around. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. If you want to see more videos just like this, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button down below and turn on bell notifications. These three simple things go such a long way in helping this channel grow, and it really does mean so much to me. If you guys ever need a good place to buy some XRP or the Flare token, make sure to check out my favorite exchange, Uphold, down in the description of this video. With that said though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So let's jump right into the video, and I'm going to have to be pretty careful about what I say in this first segment, because as you can probably see if you take a look at the screen, there's some names on this screen that if I say out loud, this video is getting taken down. So I'm going to cross my fingers that doesn't happen. But to start out, and this is what this is really all about, Judge Torres is actually on another case right now involving this individual. I'm not going to say his name. Read the screen. You know who I'm talking about. And essentially what just happened is Judge Torres actually is allowing the guards who watched the entire situation happen. I'm sure you know what situation I'm talking about. She actually dismissed charges against the guards who lied to the court about the situation at hand. Now, I think we all know there is a ton of wild stuff around this situation. I'm not going to get into it. But what we do know is that the guards in that situation that were supposed to be watching this individual lied at a certain point in their testimony. So essentially what Judge Torres is doing here is she is dismissing some charges involving those guards. Now, a lot of people are seeing this and saying, oh no, maybe Judge Torres isn't the judge we thought she was. Maybe Judge Torres is actually someone who is going to side with the government. Maybe this entire time in the Ripple SEC case, even though it has seemed like she is siding with Ripple, she's really just going to side with the SEC when the final decision is about to come down. Now, when I first saw this, honestly, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Now, it didn't really make sense to me because up until this point, I think it's safe to say that Judge Torres has gone out of her way to call out the SEC. She has even said that the SEC is pursuing this case without a faithful allegiance to the law. She's essentially completely taking a shot at the merits of their case, so it would be pretty shocking to me if this was all just some setup for her eventually to hand the SEC a win. Based on everything I've seen thus far in this case, I believe Judge Torres is completely on Ripple's side, and she's going to end up giving Ripple at worst a slap on the wrist. But seeing something like this definitely makes you concerned about the merits of the judge. But what we can see is John Deaton actually chipped in here, and he said people are reading this entirely wrong. Essentially, Judge Torres did not dismiss this case in the slightest, and she just dismissed some tiny little thing that's not going to affect the overall case. What we can learn from this is that this entire theory that Judge Torres is secretly working with the government behind the scenes, this theory that she's eventually going to side with the SEC and everything up until now has just been a ploy, is completely false. John Deaton reiterates here that we are extremely lucky to have Judge Torres on this case, and I completely agree. Judge Torres is one of the few judges out there who would even bother to understand blockchain technology. Many judges out there can't even comprehend cryptocurrencies. The judge in the library case had such a limited knowledge of cryptocurrency, he could barely make a ruling that made any sense. Judge Torres has taken the time to understand cryptocurrency, and she hasn't just rubber stamped everything the SEC has told her. She has looked into it, she has questioned it, and she has been skeptical throughout this entire case of the SEC's position. This is an absolutely fantastic place Ripple is in right now. They could have got so unlucky with the court. They could have got a judge who was just gonna listen to what the SEC said and say, you know what, you're the SEC, you're right. That is not what we have right now, and we are extremely lucky that we do have Judge Torres on this case. Now, Stephen Hubert put out an interesting tweet earlier today, and it just really makes you think. He said, important point, since the SEC filed their case against Ripple, we have seen 800 days of litigation with experts, evidence, and a whole bunch of different facts brought by the SEC. Do you think the SEC's case has gotten any stronger since they filed it? Yes or no? And now we need to understand that this poll is very biased because it was mostly XRP holders voting on it, but the majority of XRP holders out there, or the majority of people who voted on this poll, think the SEC's case has gotten weaker. Now on the surface you may look at this and say, of course people are saying the case has gotten weaker. They want Ripple to win, they want the SEC's case to be weak. But I think what we have learned throughout this entire thing is most of us are very intellectually honest. We are really observing this case and saying, okay, where is the SEC right? Where are they wrong? Where is Ripple right? Where is Ripple wrong? And for the most part, the SEC just hasn't shown anything damning. There really hasn't been anything to come out where we have said, I can't believe Ripple did that. What were they thinking? Why would they do that? And this investigation goes all the way back since 2012. It's almost like the SEC can't find a single blemish on Ripple's report card, and that has been absolutely shocking. I figured something would come out, something sketchy would kind of roll through, maybe something in the early days when people weren't really thinking, before they knew how big Ripple and XRP were going to get, maybe they were a little loose with some stuff and made some mistakes. But nothing like that has come out. Everything we have seen showed that Ripple was trying to be as responsible as possible with XRP. Everything we have seen showed that Ripple was trying to do as much due diligence as possible to try to make sure they were within the law. Ripple was really going out of their way to be transparent, be as public as possible with what they were doing, and that is what we're learning from this case. It's almost like the SEC tried so hard to throw everything at Ripple, to try to expose everything Ripple was doing, they ended up just proving there wasn't much there. I think most people who saw this case come down expected things to be worse for Ripple. I certainly did, and I was holding XRP at the time. I assumed we were going to find some sketchy stuff. I assumed we were going to find some bad stuff, but none of that is coming out. And that is a massive problem for the SEC because it's turning the public against them. Rather than everyone going after Ripple and saying, oh, look at this bad company, look what they were doing, everyone is looking back at the SEC now and saying, what were you even going after here? This is a massive problem for the SEC because it just makes people feel like Ripple should win this case, and at the end of the day, judges are humans too. They see what's happening on social media, they see what's happening in the press, they see Rosalind Layton of Forbes calling out Bill Hinman, calling out the SEC, and honestly, at the end of the day, I think the SEC thought they would find more too. I think they went after Ripple and said, okay, well, hopefully we get something in this investigation to really seal the deal and finish Ripple off. They never got it, and now they look like they're in the wrong here. So now I want to finish this video off, quickly talk about private ledgers, and show you guys a clip from Darren Moore Jr.'s video the other day because it's absolutely fantastic and something you're going to need to see. I want to start off and just quickly say that Anthony Welfare, the head of Ripple's CBDC platform, actually responded to me earlier today, which was definitely very cool, and he was just saying that both Bhutan and Palau are in advanced stages for their CBDC product, and they are built on private instances of the XRP ledger. Now remember, this does not mean these countries are never going to use public XRP. They're just building on the private ledger to get things started. Eventually, they're going to have to tap public liquidity. Eventually, they're going to have to use the public ledger to access the outside world. But this is how Ripple onboards customers onto the ledger. It's the same way they used RippleNet to onboard people for ODL. At the start, people were scared of ODL. They didn't want to use XRP, but once they saw the efficiency, they all dove in. We're going to see the same thing with this private and public ledger thing. These countries are going to start using the private ledger. They're going to start really slow, but eventually they're going to see the positives of using the public ledger. They're going to need to access the public ledger to interact with other systems, and this is just a great way to get people into the ecosystem and get them started on the XRPL. This is very exciting, and I just want to let Darren Moore Jr. take this video out. He's going to tell you exactly where this is going, because honestly, this is massive, and I could not agree with him more. Listen up closely.
Crypto hitting a $2 trillion market cap was a signal that we're in the beginning phases, that it's not going away.
We're in dialogue with, not 10, not 20, but a bunch more, central banks around the world on these discussions. We've announced projects with Bhutan, with Palau, and others to come. And I think that just shows you that this really resonates. Now, one size does not fit all.
This is a matter of national security. Our power relies on the fact that everyone has to use our banking rails, that everyone has to use dollars. Ripple is unlike any other crypto company in the cryptosphere. They've had IMF and former Fed officials like Jess Chang, Michael Barr, former Treasury like Rosie Rios and Craig Phillips, foreign relation experts Anu Manuel, 300 plus large banking partners. Ripple's position as one of the largest leaders. 20 plus central banks are talking to Ripple to build on instances of the XRP ledger. If the US has a say in the next gen financial system, it will be through US companies like Ripple and others.
Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. It means so much. And for now, Mickle out.